Good morning. Hi, I'm Paul Begley. Let's get right to it. The Bible tells us that there's going to be the rise of the beast. But also, in that process, the beast is the system. It is the mechanism in which evil is poured out upon the world. As Satan himself establishes his seat and sets in the temple of God and declares among the worshipers of God that he is God through his identity of the Antichrist. But to help him get in this power, does he need the FEMA death camps? Have you heard of the FEMA death camps? Now, if you've watched my two videos on the rise of the beast, Paul Begley's vision of 1994, I recommend you watch part 1 and 2. For it is a vision I received in 1994, in September of 94, 7 years before 9/11. At the time I seen it, I saw what was going to happen to the Christians in America, as America would fall into the hands of China. And in this vision and dream, I was actually transported with many other Christians to New Mexico and Arizona into what was called encampment prisons. I believe now they were FEMA camps. They're already built. There's over 800 FEMA camps in America. Do you know about it? Have you ever seen 60 Minutes do a special on it? No. Has Anderson Cooper stood outside its gates and asked what the watchtowers are for when there's nobody inside these prisons and camps? No. Has Geraldo uncovered it? No, he was busy with uncovering, the vaults. Al Capone in Chicago. No, what I'm telling you is, nothing against any of these broadcasters, but the mass media, the major news networks won't touch the FEMA death camps. But before we talk about it, I'm going to break it down for you. I'll tell you where they're at, exactly what's happening. Let me read to you 3 scriptures in Daniel and 1 in Revelation. First, Daniel chapter 11. The Bible says in verse 31. This is talking about the Antichrist rising and the abomination of desolation spoken by Jesus Christ. But here's Daniel prophesying about it several hundred years before Jesus. The word says, "And arms shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength." That's talking about the church. "And shall take away the daily sacrifice." Now that's talking about the Jewish covenant of God. "And they shall place the abomination that makes desolate." Now some theologians and historians believe that is when in Babylon they literally took and offered sows and pigs upon the brazen altar, which was, of course, reserved for the sacrifice by the priest of animals that were pure, like lambs and bullocks. And then the Bible says, "And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries." Now here comes the beast is Antichrist rises, destroy the Jewish church, destroy the state of the Jewish state, destroy America, destroy democracy, destroy freedom of speech, destroy Christianity, but do it with corruption of flatteries. And we're seeing it happening today as this Antichrist spirit is arising. "But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits." So even though this oppression's coming up on the Christians, and even though the Jews are been under persecution even way back, but let's just roll back a few years just to Nazi Germany, the people of God, the people of faith, the people of Yahweh, the people of Jesus Christ continue to rise above it with great exploits. "And they that understand," here's a key verse, "and they that understand among the people," instructors, let's say, or preachers, or talk show hosts, or leaders of patriot groups, let's say, folks who understand what's happening in this new world order, "they shall instruct many, yet they shall fall by the sword, and by flame, by captivity," there's the death camps, "and by spoil in many days." Now, let me just read this to you. That was Daniel chapter 11. You can read that starting at verse 30 if you want to, and read a few verses there. You'll find that. Okay? Now, the FEMA death camps. I'm going to read to you in just a moment from Revelation chapter 2, verse 10. But just before I do, I want to tell you a little bit about the FEMA death camps. What am I saying? FEMA. You say FEMA, I thought that's the Federal Emergency Management Assistance. Well, yeah, it supposedly is, and it was developed under the guise of that. But do you realize there's over 800 internment prison camps already established in America? They're in all 50 states. Some states have 4 or 5. Some states have multiple, 20 or 30. These internment prison camps are sometimes they're old Walmarts that's been rebuilt. Sometimes they're old factories. Sometimes they're old prisons, and sometimes they're brand new facilities with chain links and towers and all types of railroad tracks on both sides, so that people could be brought in and people could be things could be shipped out, whatever. And they're very they're hid away a lot of times. They're protected. There's guards outside of them. They have train tracks leading to them. There's helicopter pads. There's cameras set up for security surveillance. There's a huge one in Beech Grove, Indiana. Gigantic. It has 3 large gas chambers and furnaces. It has over 1 million square feet. It could take on thousands of people. There's also labor camps, and they're all over America, especially out in the West. And just like my vision I had, they're in Arizona, they're in New Mexico, they're in Wyoming, they're all over. They're California, they're in Indiana, they're in Ohio, Kentucky, New York, Maine, Florida, they're everywhere. Texas, they're everywhere. FEMA camps with nobody there. There's no prisoners in them, but they're modern, they're ready. There's coffins that have been located. You can Google it if you want to, or you can right here on YouTube just type in FEMA coffins. You'll find videotape, literally thousands of coffins ready to go. They will hold more than one body. They'll hold about 4 bodies apiece. By the thousands, stacked up and ready. There's guillotines that are in some of our military bases. Guillotines. FEMA guillotines that are specifically for the use of beheading resistance. Resistance to what? This is America. The New World Order, if you have to understand, has to do with stopping and oppressing all religious faith, putting an end to America's Christianity and Americans' Judaism. It's all about resisting an elimination of those that they cannot reprocess. Madison, Georgia has one. It could hold 125,000 prisoners. There's over 500,000 coffins just outside of Madison, Georgia, in a field. There's videotape of it during 2005. Phoenix, Arizona has large FEMA coffins cemeteries. There's nobody buried in them, but yet you can go and look at it. That's just outside of Phoenix, Arizona. Huge cemeteries by FEMA prepared for burial, yet there's no graves in them yet. Are we nearing the end? Gog and Magog. Do you understand the pressure that the world is under? I'm going to stop now and come back again with part 2, but I'm Paul Begley reporting, and I'll read Revelation when I come back. Watch part 2 on the FEMA death camps.